Yo my peoples, welcome back. We are going into Spider-Man 2 again, part 4. I haven't played in like 3-4 days because I've been a bit unwell, so it's been quite long to not play this game for me, man. I've been itching to play it. I'm like, I just want to play Spider-Man, but I can't. So we're jumping in it today. It's probably going to be around the 2-hour mark, but let's jump straight into it and see where we were. So let's go.
MJ said there's a shop in Little Odessa that might have a lead on Craven.
There's a shop in Little Odessa, is there? Where are we? Okay. Wait, people, before I do this mission, yeah, I saw a little, would we call it an Easter egg? I'm not sure, or sort of like a party trick that you can do with Peter. And I just want to attempt it quickly. But you need to be at a high point, so I'm gonna go up this Avengers Tower quickly. Take a little detour before we go to the mission and that. I should be able to just slingshot myself all the way to the top, man. Spider-Man, bruv. Running. Right, so if I jump off this way, let's see if we can do it. If I can remember how to do it. Oh, can he do it, lad? We'll do one more attempt. He basically does a Rubik's Cube in the air before you land, but you've got to sort of dive, hold the down button, hold square at the same time. It's all confusing, man. It's all very confusing, lads. We'll do one more attempt. If not, we'll fly. We'll go across to where we need to be. Come on, Spidey, man. I was doing it yesterday, man. I tried to attempt it yesterday, but no, okay. We'll come back to that. We will come back to that when we learn how to bloody do it, yeah? Hey, Venom suit. Man, yeah, I didn't even recap, to be fair, so last... Oh, wow. Oh, I think I learned another Easter egg, actually. Can you glide on the wall? Yeah, look. Hey, one's gliding on the water, bruv. Mad. Yeah, sick. Hey, this is sick. One's just gliding, giving myself a boost. Don't even need to web swing. But yeah, the recap from last time we played, obviously we saw that Peter got stabbed by a Craven, and we died. Basically, we died. And then obviously Harry has given us the Venom suit. Well, he didn't mean to give us the Venom suit, but obviously that's what saved us, and that's where we left off. So now we've got the black suit, and I'm excited. Let's see what happens next. See what happens next in this game. There's so many storylines to follow. That's the thing. You've got like Miles, you've got Peter. MJ's obviously going to get involved because the thing is, if Harry's Venom, he knows all of Peter's closest friends and family, and that's MJ basically, so she's going to be in trouble.
What happened?
Hunters. They've been coming through here for days.
Sorry I wasn't here to help. Could you tell me about this antique I found? It, almost killed me.
I cannot help you. I've seen this symbol before. Please leave.
Wait! I can protect you from
shook.
the hunters.
I'm not worried about them. I thought I left this behind on Volgograd. The flames have been...
Volgograd.
This is his jungle now.
Craven?
Cravenov.
Raw. Shook. Why are these lot so shook, man?
Dude! MJ told me you almost died. You okay?
Hey, Miles. Actually, never felt better.
I should have been... Wait. Really?
Positive.
Hmm.
Hey, let me call you back. Got some bonfires to crash.
Okay.
Once I never felt better. Yeah, because you got the black suit now. Oh, we're going straight in, why not? We got the venom power.
What's this I hear
We
about
got the
ladies?
venom power. Oh, get kicked on the wall. Dickhead, stay down. Ross, chill out. How many hits can these men take? But realistically, getting punched up by venom and that, and you're taking whacks, man. Right. How do we do this then?
What are they doing up here?
Okay. Bonfire and that. Vodka.
Vodka from Volgograd? Looks like it's for some kind of party.
The vodka. Nasty, man. I hate vodka.
Pretty rude of Craven not to extend an invite. Never stopped
Well,
me
I'm not
before,
gonna
though.
put it. Not gonna put it out now. Just gonna leave it there. Calm. Makes sense. Right. Oh, right, okay.
You have a city
For some
permit
reason I
that
forgot there's just
bonfire?
gonna be people up here, but we go again. Sniper. Get sniped. Dickhead. Oh crap. Wait, what? Wait, that's so sick. Where are they? Dogs. Wait, that venom punch is too sick, man. I hate the black webs. Oh no, not this thing. Allow it, man. Oh, I didn't realise. I'm gonna have to go back to the other one, boys.
See what they were up to.
Do I have to go back to the other one? How have I not done that? There's a big water tank next to it, man. Oh, there it is.
Should check in that shed.
Can I do it? Yeah, I can. Thinking that Spider-Man would just fly away, leave this bonfire up here. Alright, cool. Sorted that, we're not too far anyway. It's nice. Do. Nah.
They're shipping in more luxury goods from Volgograd for this event? The shipments have to be
More
coming
vodka.
nearby. No airfields here. But what about the docks? Maybe something there can lead me to Craven.
Cool. I hate this suit though, let's just take a second to appreciate this suit. Jizzle. Pen. I need to figure out how to do that Rubik's Cube thing, man, it's annoying me.
Don't make me ask again.
I told you! That's everything!
Stealth.
Where is the rest of our ship?
That guy needs my help.
Right, do we do it stealth? Yeah, we do. Oh, we ain't got the invisible thing because we're not Miles, but
A lot of hunters for some vodka and caviar.
we got the... how his boy hasn't seen me right next to him, but yeah, makes sense. I just nabbed your boy right next to you and didn't even notice.
What's Craven doing all this now?
Someone!
Doesn't make any sense.
No one can hear you scream.
That's what you think. Because I'm Batman. Wrong game.
1 second he's hunting supervillains,
Look at this.
and now he's
Come on.
entertaining?
Make that line for ourselves. Black webs are too sick.
Like the zoo.
Can I? Quick. Get you. Do I just go in and save the guy now?
Heard something. Checking on it.
Check on it, innit? Can I make another line somewhere? No, not there. There I can. Bosh, how none of them are seeing this is mad. Just yanking them up. You can't see that now. Wait, making your own web lines is actually sick. What are you lot doing, bruv? Inside each other, man. It's supposed to be a family channel out here. You man are doing stupidness like that.
He's trying to scare us!
Yeah, piss off.
The spider was here!
I just still can't get over the fact that these lot can't see me.
Real fight!
Yank.
Up there! It's
Oh, he's caught me.
Okay.
Oh well, we got 4.
Oh, great. More of you.
Dickhead. Oh, raw, rocket. Oh, more come out like that. Raw, I didn't even see them. Dee-dee-dee. Wait, Venom. It's too sick, man.
Here, I can take your shipment to your boss.
Love doing this, man. Get on the box. Dickhead. Yeah.
Better go check on the dock worker.
How am I supposed to get that from up there, though, man?
Easy, easy. You're in pretty bad shape. Let me help you.
Hospital.
Hospital,
There's
please.
one close by.
See, I told you, I'm always swinging people hospital or ambulance and
It's gonna
stuff
be
now.
okay.
I thought they were going to kill me.
What did they want?
Some cargo went missing on the journey. Here. They thought I took it.
You're safe.
Safe and sound.
Where's the drop-off?
718 Kent.
See, I still don't understand this stuff, man.
The suit right now. Hey, buddy. How you feeling?
I'm fine. What's happening?
Craven, or Cravenoff, is hosting some party at 718 Kent. Figured I'd stop by.
Looks like a social club.
Hang on, I'm almost there.
Cutscene.
Looks like a busy night. Hope our VIP is here.
They're more riled up than usual.
Just keep your head down and
How are you getting in?
Kitchen entrance.
You should change. The classic Peter Parker look isn't gonna cut it.
Too bad my tux is at the dry cleaners. Huh?
Wait, what?
I'm a spy. A spider spy.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man.
Get to mention
Come
the
on.
suit could turn into a tux.
Oh, never did that with me.
Hey! Hey, you! Come over here. Take this to Mr. Cravenoff's bodyguard.
His bodyguard?
Dima! Move!
Well, sounds like your shift's starting.
Yeah.
I'll leave you to it.
Better go find Dima.
Orders up!
How are they eating so fast?
Don't keep them waiting. Move!
Raw. Bear munch. Let me get some of that. Hey, chill out, man. I'm holding a tray, bro.
Swanky.
Man said,
I clean up pretty nice.
swanky. I can't see what the objective says because my face is in the way, but find someone. Here? Can I walk through here? No. 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 Is it gonna be right? Left? This one? No. Okay. Left. Closed. Not on my watch. Bro! Where am I supposed to go? Is it to one of these or? Oh, I'm supposed to walk through them, mad. Dickhead. Okay.
Keep moving, I'll break your bones.
I'll fuck you up.
300-year-old sleeping dart will never work.
You are so certain, are you?
Show me then.
Show him too.
Yes?
Take him. Let him squirm.
The poison is ancient, and you don't even know how to use that.
Oh shit. Wait, what?
A true hunter. Adepts. Sleep well, my friend.
Those hunters were nuts.
I just killed his way.
The suit listened to me. Wish my suit had a neural interface like this. I could work with Harry, do the hero gig, and take a vacation all at once.
Did you see he had the tusks mounted upstairs?
You have no idea what's about to happen, Peter.
That's probably the maitre d' by the podium.
Mm-mm.
Has one of the shield bearers arrived?
Yes, he is in the other room by the fire. Will Mr. Kravinoff be joining us this evening? There are some, Quite right.
Damn, Craven isn't here. Shield bearer. Sounds like a bodyguard to me.
We're going up there, yeah? So let's go. Okay.
I'll rip him in half with my bare hands.
He is not your target. You kill him, you'll be afraid.
He's getting slapped up. Raw. Rhino.
Him. Your meal, sir.
Raw. Looks like the first Iron Man suit.
What the hell is this?
I was told to deliver this to Mr. Kravinoff's personal bodyguard?
What makes you think I'm him?
You know, you're, huge.
Dima's very hungry. You should leave now.
So funny. I was just about to do that.
I want to fight them.
He was looking up at that room. Gotta find the elevator.
Bloody hell.
If that's just the shield bearer, how big is Dima gonna be?
It's too scary. I don't want to serve him food anymore.
Just drop the plate and leave. Simple as that.
Coming through.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be sorry. Move!
Coming through!
This mess. If everything isn't perfect, we're all dead.
For someone with spider sense, this is mad.
No, wait!
Didn't bring further
They're all getting fucked.
Come on. Shut up, both of you. Pick everything up and let's move.
Man just skirted out of there quick.
Find Dima, we find Craven and his weird lizard suit.
They're still beefing, she's still kicking the shit out of him, bro. Go on, one more bosh. Yeah, lovely. Oh, raw.
You wouldn't happen to be Dima?
Raw, it's an actual tiger, that's sick. My favourite animal.
Explains the secret menu. Someone's a little hangry.
I got a tiger tattoo on my arm.
That's new.
Oh, raw, I'm just in here now, yeah?
Dima something to eat that isn't spider flavored.
Yeah.
Raw meat must be somewhere.
There. Whip it.
Something in that study might help me find Craven.
You're telling me I have to stealth.
Gotta break out the apron.
I have to stealth to get a piece of meat for a tiger, mad.
That hunter's right there.
The hell was that?
Could I not have just done that from the other side?
For a Russian tiger bodyguard.
Hmm.
That sounded weird. Might have to make a few minor adjustments to this meal.
Now
Where's
what?
that sleeping hunter?
Oh, okay.
A lot of bodies by that sleeping hunter.
Right now. Telling me they don't see him hanging there though, come on. Let's be real now.
Our little secret. Sleepy time for Dima.
That's our little secret.
Sleeping time for Peter. If this doesn't work, there's only one other thing on the menu. Me.
Trust. No, there's a million people out here, man.
Hi, Dima. I'm back. Need a little snacky snack.
Surely you'd think it would smell the poison or something, but... Drugged.
A Chef Spidey masterpiece.
Let's play some snooker, mate.
Cool for his own party. Should look around in case he left the lizard serum somewhere in here.
That it, but we'll see.
No serum. These drugs are for late-stage chemotherapy. Are these Cravens too?
Okay. Triangle. It is time to pray. My mother opened every hunt with these words. Others spent the night fasting, drinking themselves into oblivion. Not us, not the Cravenoffs. To us the hunt was sacred, a duty from a higher power. Predators forced the weak to grow strong. We shaped the world, she would say. Gathered in the candlelight of our chapel, we shed bites of Paxca. Felt the anticipation in our bellies build, ready to honor our ancestors. Feel their blood course through our veins. Though she is gone, I still honor the tradition. The fires have been lit, the chapel prepared. Tonight I will pray for what I hope is the last time. Now the hunt begins, and if I do not return, all the better. Okay, so what's happening tonight?
The chapel prepared. St. Sophia's only a few blocks from here. Craven has to be there with the serum. Time to move.
What's this though?
Don't see Craven's lizard serum here. But what are these potions? Wonder if this is how he's so freakishly strong.
Take some. Is there anything else I need to see in here before I go? What's this?
Didn't know hunting could be so existential. He's better read than I would have thought. Nothing like some light philosophy between hunts.
He probably is like bare old though, let's be real. Sorry, my G. Hey, quick photo. Doesn't let me. Mad. Okay.
So Craven has a pet tiger. That tracks.
Yeah, sorry man. You sleep though, innit? What's this?
Must have just missed him. Was Craven praying?
Alright, let's go. So let's go. Spidey sense. Oh. She's just having a nap, man. Don't worry, she's just sleeping.
It's not what it looks like.
Oh, right, it's a one-on-one in front of everyone, yeah? Let's go. So let's go.
Okay, suit. Let's see what you can read.
Oh, symbiote surge, what? Oh, crap. What is this like? I've gone Mad Max now.
Harry did not tell me it felt like this.
Oh, where'd that walk? Symbiote surge. Massively boost the power of your attacks while active. Trigger it when your symbiote surge meter is full. So it's basically like Miles's electric meter.
So strong.
It's like Miles's surge of electricity when he bursts out, but I get it with Venom. I'm still not gonna have it for long though, am I?
This thing knows exactly how I like to fight.
Where is everyone? Oh, they're up there. Do 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 do.
I'm a one-man army now.
Get munched.
I could get used to this. Sorry.
Get fucked.
Party's getting shut down.
Get fucked. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man, bro. Venom Spider-Man as well. Yeah, don't ever try that.
How you like me now?
How'd you like me now? Where's this big boy, man? I'll fuck him up. Dickhead. Where you at? Must I keep him alive? How long does it take you to get down the stairs, bro? Unless you're going to do something else. Oh my god, my guy just... Did you see that? Kick in the neck, bro. That was mad. Oh, there you are. Oh, there's another one even. Bosh. Yeah. Oh my god, that's so nasty. But we love it. Can't see, man. Yeah, get dodged. What the hell is that, man? Get on the wall. They're everywhere, man. Anyone else? Yep. Yeah, get dodged. Dickhead. Fool. Kick in the face.
Gotta get to the chapel quick.
Oh, okay. Where did that guy go then? Thought the big boy was coming. Unless...
That was fun.
Spider sense? Oh, right, the suit saved me. Yeah, run, you bitch. The vengeance. It's taken over, the anger's taken over. Oh.
That wasn't me.
here we go.
You should ice that.
Oh, I thought he was gonna fucking finish him. Alright. Get to the chapel.
Any luck?
No Craven yet, but I think I know where he is.
How's the suit?
Weird. It's like it knows me. Don't worry, buddy. I'll take care of everything. Promise.
Get to the chapel. Right, we're here. Wait, look how hard that looks, bro. Wait, what? Oh shit, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. Oh, okay. Great.
Okay, webs are back. It's you! I knew that was our meet cute back there. I
Yeah,
knew
I was gonna say, bro, where was this guy? Alright, this is like the first proper big fight of the game.
I know you better, but I got some business to take care of.
Wait, that was timed to perfection.
Your boss has been up to no good lately. This is my city, not
I
his
can't lie,
jungle.
this is like the first fight, like boss fight of the
Kill
game.
Scorpion. Let the lizard loose.
Oh, right, why didn't it do it?
And he stabbed
Web
me
gadget's
right.
disabled. Why?
I'd like a word with it, especially about that last part.
Come on, we're going the road, isn't it? Dickhead. Hooah. Okay. So I've got to parry him, innit? Because otherwise I'm not going to be able to... Okay. It's all happening so fast.
Spears like a mini EMP.
Yeah. Clock that, mate. Thanks, though. I can't lock onto the target.
For these guys?
Come on. Take out the little boys first.
What's the matter?
Yeah. Now what? Stay down, mug. Try not to get fucked by the... Yeah, get blocked. You fool. Bosh. Yeah? What? And again. Dickhead. And one more. Oi, that I just murked him. Absolutely murked him. Look at him. Little bitch. I'll just use all three moves on him at once. Combination. Combination things. Shout out to Drake and that. Combination. Come on. Come on, big boy. Where you going, bro? Everyone thinks he's me. Oh, you hit your own boy. Dickhead or girl. Yeah, both get it. Oh, the webs are disabled. What a way to finish him. What a way. That was too funny. Oh, right, I didn't mean to do that. No. No, chill out, lad. Yeah. Take it. Take it. Ross. Oh crap, I need to get health. Keep forgetting I'm playing on the most difficult one. Oh crap, whoa. Brown bread. Wow. I just got absolutely murked there, man. Absolutely murked. And the thing is, I parried that there as well, man. I don't understand. take it. I didn't even see this truck before, to be fair, so if there was a truck behind me, which there definitely was. Venom punch. Can't even see what I'm doing, I'm just murking. That's what I've done last time, but I died. I got you in my sights. Overwatch, shout out. Yeah, what? Try to do it again. Dick. Oh my god, do you see that? Please deep that. Did you see the black venom blood coming out of her mouth there when she gets kicked in the neck? That's too funny. Matt.
Enough song and dance. I'm coming, Craven.
Raw, he's getting vexed now. The venom's taken over. He's about to lose his shit. I'm telling you now, we're about to lose our shit. Where are they?
Here to pick up a serum order for a Dr. Connors?
Someone's going through that window, innit?
You have hunted me. This is good. Let's see if you have the strength to finish what you started.
So let's go, big boy. Oh crap. Spider sense is a bit slow right now. Bro, I'm getting fucked.
I see a man. I sense a beast.
Don't get stabbed again, man. Allow it. Yeah, here we go. Oh no. Fucked. Oh no, he's clocked it.
Why don't you set it free? I'm just here to save my friend.
Oh shit. I'm gonna be naked. Oh crap.
We'll finish this later.
Might as well finish this later, I've gotta go.
My final hunt.
Now he knows what fucks the suit, man. Tracker, great. Drop it. Swing, yep. What have we unlocked, mate? Suits, let's have a look. Oh my days. That's basically Tobey Maguire's suit, yeah. That is. Yeah, but not that I like it when it's proper silver, the line's the original. I want to use the Andrew Garfield suit, yeah, which is the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit, this one. But I'm keeping with the story, man. Right now we're Black Spider-Man with the Venom suit, so we're keeping that in it. Gadgets. What can we do here? Skills, we got 1 skill point. Increases chain lightning from 3 to 6, yeah, why not? Why not? Gadgets. You keep telling me about something, but I don't have it. Where to find? Right, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright.
Harry, MJ, I got the serum. On my way back to Emily May.
How'd it go?
Really well. Things just got a little intense with Craven.
Come on.
Somehow stronger than he looks.
Quick
If you can
thing.
believe that.
Hey, the important thing is that you're okay, and you got the serum. You did great, buddy. I'll start prepping the gear.
How'd it really go?
It was totally... I didn't want to worry Harry. Craven knows now that the suit malfunctions when it's within range of certain frequencies.
How bad is the malfunction?
Not
Quite bad.
pleasant, but I can handle it.
Well, I'm glad you're all right, but watch yourself out there too. Let me know how things go at the lab.
Absolutely. Talk soon.
Oh, what's that? Let's do this crime quickly.
Wait, what is that? It looks mysterious.
What's this? Okay, chase thing. Come on. What's that? It's like a tank. Oh, raw. Oh, sick. Yeah, get fucked. Oh, wow, what I throw in there? Yeah, I don't even spam it, man. Come on. Lovely. I want to see what this Mysterio thing is. Let's have a look at this, because we've done quite a few of the main missions. But let's have a look. Little side quest.
A Mysterium. I should let Miles know.
Oh, no, no, no. Oh, I didn't mean to switch, but alright. I thought I was going to go into like a different... I shouldn't have switched that, man.
Need some help?
The Mysterium is infected with a virus or something, and it's trapped someone inside.
If you execute the breakpoint condition, the system should reset. Just try not to get hurt in the process.
How would I get hurt if it's just an illusion?
That, my friend, is what we're trying to find out.
This guy's an idiot, man. Take these things away. Oh, this is sick. Oh, there we go again. Am I going to be a DJ again?
Spider-Man. Here to play hero?
Wait, don't leave, wait!
Just hold on! I'm coming!
Time is not on your side, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, what do you see in there?
Bunch of bad guys, including Mysterio.
I know this will sound odd, but Cole and I believe that this rogue Mysterio was created by whoever corrupted our Mysterio.
Bosh.
They are trying to frame me
Well,
by
where's the timer?
illusions that torture people.
Okay.
We believe that if you defeat these anomalies, we will be able to...
Alright, Miles. I say it every time. I just like it. I love using Miles. Oi, that was nice. I like that one. Come to me. See, how do you survive that, man?
You can't save anyone. You can't save yourself.
Raw. What's going on, huh? Oh, okay. What's this? I'm dodging and fighting, apparently. Oh, crap. I'm dead. That's too hard, man. Fucking hell, there's so much shit going on. Oh, don't tell me I have to start from here again, man. Please allow it. I'm sorry.
Time is not on your side, Spider-Man.
This is proper annoying, man. I never die on Spider-Man. Alright, cool, I might die once or twice in a main boss fight, but not this much on shit like this. It's because I'm trying it on the spectacular this time, because I want the game to last and I want you guys to see the best like gameplay all the way through on the hardest level. I don't want to sort of just rush through it on the easy mode and finish the game quickly, because I want to actually enjoy the game as well. Usually, I'm telling you now, yeah, if I wasn't streaming this game, I would have completed it in a day, 2 days max, because the last Miles Morales game wasn't as long, but I completed it in the 8 hours the day I got it, and the first Spider-Man I done it in 2 days. So, but I didn't play them on Spectacular, I played them on the normal or the one just under Spectacular. But this one I want to actually make last. However, I would have smashed this already. I'm doing it for the stream and for the videos. So, appreciate me. We'll just web swing them, innit? Shit. Jesus, what a dodge. Who's running out of time, bro? Come to me? Yeah, that's it, nice. No, lie, bro, it's not.
Countdown to your doom.
I'm trying not to die again, man, because I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it again. Yeah, I don't think I'm doing this, people, in time, but as long as I do the objective. Need to get finisher moves, but they don't come by too easy. Yeah, we like that. Raw, straight punch in the face. I need one more finisher. I need one more finisher for gold. We might not get gold, but I'm not that bothered right now. Come on, man. One more finisher. Come on. Oh my days, 25 seconds. There we go. Oi. 21 seconds to spare.
You're okay.
You're welcome.
Safe and sound.
And I've done it with gold. Come on.
Impressive. So this is
Level 17 already. Is it? Mad. Didn't even realise I was level 17 already. So a bit crazy. Where'd I go? What do? Oh, raw. Yeah, sick. Come on. Come with me, love. Let's get you out of here. Okay, you just teleport out of here as well. Gadget, cool. Suits. Okay, that's the last one in the last game. In the first game, Peter's first game, that's the one you kill or you fight Doc Ock in at the end. Sick. I like that suit. Suit tech, focus. Yeah, we'll do a focus. Why not? Gadgets, skills. 2 people, what's this? Yeah, we'll do that, why not? Helps us with swinging, doesn't it? L1 and... oh, there you go, L1 and X to perform a spider jump while gliding. Yeah, sick. The traversal stuff is always... spider dash, there you go, so that's for Miles, that's for Peter. But... the traversal stuff is always worth doing, man. Because it's nice to get around quickly and do everything quickly.
found one of our dev diaries. This is a project Betsy was passionate about. Unfortunately, more people are trapped in Mysteriums throughout the city.
I need to turn to Peter.
We must find out who's behind this and bring them to justice.
This whole Mysterium thing feels shady.
But if there are people trapped, I gotta help them. And try to figure out what's really going on.
Come on. Switching to Peter.
You still got it? Let's see what this thing's made of.
Oh no, please don't make me do the science thing again.
Overlaid the serum with an old sample of Connor's blood. If you can destroy the atoms blocking the lizard receptors, we can make an antidote, and then we're golden.
Like a goose.
Like
Oh,
a
piss off.
goose.
Oh man.
So how's the suit working out for you?
It's good.
This is confusing. Right, okay, one second. So
Yeah.
we need to get rid of
I'm gonna
those.
really put it through its paces when this is over.
So if I do that, cool. That, nice. I want to say that, nice. Smash that. Alright, and call this that, innit? Shit, I done that the first time, didn't I? Alright, cool. And then, no, that's attached to that. That maybe? Yeah, bomb. Come on.
Wait, does the structure look unstable to you?
Yes, it does, Harry. Yeah. Not a fucking clue, mate.
Beam a few electrons in there, it'd stabilize it, but it's not like we have a
Particle accelerator?
What?
That'd be like using a shotgun for a haircut.
Hell of a haircut.
Shotgun for a haircut, imagine that. For that shit.
The text said it needs repair, but maybe it's okay.
The music is a bit mad right now.
No black holes, no black holes, no black holes.
Well, man's just hoping, no black holes. Ain't even figured it out.
Huh. Pressure change popped an intersection out of alignment. There's no way to fix it without going inside.
Unless I go inside.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing?
The suit will protect me, right?
Fucking hope so.
I don't know about this.
Relax and be a good proton.
Huh?
Stay positive.
Oh my god. Protons are positive. Yes, we know.
What's the inside of a particle accelerator like?
Amazing. You gotta crawl in this when you get the suit back.
Oh, yeah, it's at the top of my list.
Part of me don't want to go through there.
If there aren't any other pressure problems, nothing.
Oh, okay, just do this.
Come right out.
Nice. Come on. Push that back. Bosh. Oh, crap.
Harry! It's powering up, but the beam's erratic. Use the
Oh,
magnets to
crap. I need to get out of here.
find the sweet spot.
Particle accelerators do not have sweet spots!
I have no idea what I done there, innit? I just held L2 and R2.
If you can't stabilize the beam, it'll destroy the serum.
I got it.
Okay, so I need to draw the magnets onto this.
Do not wipe my library cards.
Go, 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 go.
Nice.
Nice.
You did it, Pete. We're home free.
Come on, I need to get the fuck out of here, boy. Oh, crap.
Static discharge.
Oh,
Means the accelerator's
quick roll.
clever frickin' goose.
Oh, crap. Quick duck and roll. Oh, yeah, boy. What a stupid idea it was to come in here, Peter, wasn't it? I'm getting dizzy. Yeah, come on, get me out of here.
Is it working?
Lizard antidote, here we come.
Oh, it's the noise.
So the suit's got some sensitive ears.
Apparently.
Just a bit.
More static discharges. The accelerator's still running though. The serum's okay.
Fire.
Oh, crap. I'm gonna burn down the whole building now.
You get that side, I'll get this side.
Got it. Good, good.
The static discharges must have fried our fire suppression sensors. I'll try to trigger them manually.
Is the antidote still getting made?
Should be. But if the fires damage the accelerator, we'll lose it.
Crap, that's gonna explode. Yep, how do I know?
Can't put that fire fast enough. There's gotta be something else I can use.
Water.
Nice water pressure. Easy.
Anything else? Oh,
Everything down here is
crap.
clear. I just need to help out upstairs. Nitrogen, always useful.
Trust. Well, Spider-Man teaching you lessons as well at the same time. What an educational game this is.
Another fire's out. How you doing, Harry?
I'm bypassing every safety lock known to man. Living life on the edge. That's the last of them.
Nearly fucked the whole lab.
It worked. So you'll power it down. I'll grab the antidote, find Dr. Connors.
Not so fast. There are 67 shutdown steps. If you take it out before then, we'll lose the antidote.
67.
Sounds like it's gonna be a
Freaking hell.
while. You hungry? I could go get a pizza. Shut it down and get the
Oh
antidote.
shit.
I'll handle them.
They found the base.
No Craven? I thought we had a thing going.
Oh wow. Magnet.
Tell me where he is.
Magnetic things. Oh, that was sick. I didn't even do nothing. Okay. Here, you can go out of here, dickhead. You and your fucking bow and arrow, mate, yeah? Do one. Idiot. What are you doing as well? Oh, I missed it.
Tracked me after I stole the serum. Sorry, Harry.
Why are you apologizing? I'm not worried. You got
I'm coming back for that bitch in a minute. Wait, the space in the sky right now.
What step are you on now, Harry?
Diverting the beam into the auxiliary tunnel. What's new with you?
Well, I just got an extension on my
Ross, there's so many people I just got. Oh, the bird as well, come on. Everyone's come to play today, apparently. Yeah, get parried, dickhead. Bosh. Yeah? Oh, I can't even see, man. Oh, crap.
These guys are gonna stop coming.
You got this, buddy.
Get away from me, man. Yeah, what? I need to take this fucker out, man. This guy's pissing me off. How much fucking beats can this guy take, man? Get rocket launched by your boy. Oh yeah, I set that up so nice. Your own boy rocket launcher, you dickhead. How'd you feel? Yeah, now I'm gonna do it to your boys as well. Carry on, man. Keep giving me ammo, you twat. Coming down. Who else wants it? Anyone else? Harry? Where are you?
It's almost powered down.
I'll finish it and grab the antidote. You need to get out. I can't leave.
Spider sense.
Watch out!
Shit. Let's give Harry the suit back, man. Oh no. Is this where Venom is born?
Cover the exits! Tell Craven we have the spider!
Oh shit.
Craven's gonna have fun with you.
Harry!
Oh no. Oh, that was sick. I had to try to read the buttons quick. I was like, what? L1 and what? Yeah. Now you've pissed me off. Yeah, and again. Yeah, now you've pissed me off.
Come and get me! What the hell was that? I don't know. I was just so... And the suit. You okay?
Get punched.
I'm going to the breaker room. I can do the next steps there.
Harry's a G, man, I can't lie. Harry just saved my ass. Harry saved my ass bare times this game, I can't lie. I like how the walls are just falling around, falling down behind me, like smashing through walls. Yeah, Craven was smart to stay home because I'm pussy. Don't want none of this. Yeah, I'll fuck him up. All we need is a bell, but it's calm. Oh shit. Oh wow, I'm trying to parry, man. I need focus, man. I need focus. That is too sick, man. Oh shit, I'm gonna die. I'm actually gonna die. Not again, please. I can't go through it again, lad. You gonna go up? Fuck you. Yeah. Oh, this guy can take it, you know? Yeah, stay on the wall. Harry? Fucking hell, man. It's a bit breezy. Oh, it's not Craven, I was getting gassed. Another boss fight, though.
I didn't know there were bears in these woods.
He's too funny, man. That's what I love about Spider-Man as well.
Business, there's something I have to tell you.
Yeah, that's what I love about Spider-Man, man. This guy's just funny as well, and it takes the piss.
Come on. I thought it was funny.
Come on, then. Come on. I thought it was funny as well, mate. Don't worry.
You know, all this damage wouldn't take long to fix. Maybe we need to keep some of it as a patch on.
It was funny, mate. Don't worry about it.
Those arrows must have ruptured the accelerator's shielding. The beam's scraping the tunnel.
Hold that.
Shut it down? What about the antidote?
Can I swing him? No, I can't. I can fuck him up, though. Whoa. Yeah, what? Dickhead. Yeah, what? My turn. Pussy. Oh, crap. Yeah, what? Come, watch this. Ready? Come towards me. Surprise, motherfucker! Yeah, you don't know nothing. Don't know who you're fighting, bro. We'll fight in the woods. Bear in the woods. Come on, come out of here. Now what? Dickhead. Dickhead. This guy's shit, man. Let me fight Craven, innit? Get fucked. Yeah. Get absolutely fucked, mate. Oh crap. Dodged into that one there. Oh, shizer. Out of nowhere, thank God I could heal there. To find some more stuff I can throw. Here we go. Bosh. Dead. Yeah, fuck you. Where is Craven? Is that him? Oh, they're actually fucking everything, man. How did they even find? Oh, the tracker in the... How have I just clocked because of the tracker in the vial, man? Should have saw that coming, but I didn't.
Oh no. Oh, yes?
Oh, yes. Bosh. Punch through the door. Oh no, okay. Craven ain't coming, is he? Let's be real, he ain't coming here. How many fuckers? How many of you am I gonna fuck up before you realise that I respawn when you kill me anyway, so it don't matter?
Don't worry about that. You need to get out. No. There's just a few steps left.
Where's Miles, bro? Where is Miles, huh? Could use your help, Miles. Wait, this Venom Surge thing is mad. Yeah, this is mad. I'm just boxing like Mike Tyson right now, do you see that? Left, right, left, right. Bosh, bosh. Yeah, tell him again. Smash his face. Oh, he's getting vexed now. Surge! Yeah, that was timed. Nice. There's so many, bro. You seeing this? This one's spectacular, people, man. Like, look how many fucking people there are. Something's gotta happen. Something's gotta happen. What's this? What's this? Yeah, of course it is. Look how many people there are. Find about 90 people, man. It's a joke, bro. Look how many people there are. Yeah, that was it. But guess what? They're all getting fucked.
Just give me a second.
Anyone? They'll fuck them all. Easy.
Let's go.
Oh, let's peek, man. The whole thing. It's his dad, innit? Yeah, it's his dad. That was cool.
Harry. Are you hurt?
I'm fine. We both are. But the Foundation...
I don't care about that right now. Are you sure you're okay?
Yeah.
Oh, he's got too much money.
See what you can save.
He's just like, I don't care about that right now. Important. Priorities, I rate it.
Of the damage.
Your dad's right. The Foundation doesn't matter. What? This was our dream, and it still is. But right now we have to focus on finding Dr. Connors and getting you healthy again. I got this.
There's a tracker on it, you dickhead. Have you still not clocked it, you fool? Look at it. Mad.
Hey, you've reached P... it's good enough. Leave a message.
Where the hell are you, Pete?
Another seat. What other seat have we got? No, we ain't. Gadgets. Can we do anything with the gadget? No. No, not yet. Okay.
Hey, Genki.
Oh, we got skills though. 1 second. Sorry, people. Skill point on that. Might have to start giving Peter some more skills as well.
Hey dude, one of the friends got its wires all crossed with an old Hunter transmission. Figured you might want to look into it. Maybe it'll lead to Lee. Sending you the source coordinates.
Really appreciate
Oh,
it,
it's man
man.
in Times Square. Come on.
Good? Haley and I are a little worried.
It's okay. I just need everything to get back to normal first. I'll make it up to her, though.
Jeez, Times Square.
Okay, dude.
Hello, everybody. Used to be able to high five members of the public, innit? Come on. So let's go. Ping. That's so nice. The trees.
Oh, Mom left me a message.
Miles, about the stolen museum pieces. I went to the impound yard and saw an old phone number on that truck you chased down. I may be onto something. Can you come meet your mama for lunch at the park by my office? Chopped cheese on me.
Any clue is a good clue. If we can't find that truck, the museum will have to close. Plus, I never turn out a chopped cheese.
Oh yeah, we still need to find that truck. Let's do this crime. Save the day.
Need to stop the cultists before I hit those fires.
Oh, we can do both at the same time, Miles.
I'm with the fire brigade.
Oh, I've got normal webs now, no venom webs. That thing is too funny, man. Bro, what the hell are these things? Ross. I'm guessing that's where the fire started. Dickhead. 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 Oh, no, allow it. Yeah, thank God. Oh, the bad. The fire's out.
Everyone's safe inside, and the fire department can take over.
Come on.
We're good.
Clean it up. Watch it how I clean up. The web swinging is too nice, man. Oh, wait 1 second. Is that technical parts? Yeah. Come on.
I wonder if the person who stole this knew it was underground tech.
There's a photo here as well. I know I'm doing some side stuff, but we have been doing quite a few main missions, which is the whole point. But we can do some of this little stuff on the side as well. Come on, let's get a good photo, man. Get in, bro. Slam dunk.
Yeah, that'll definitely work.
NYC, the mecca of basketball.
Oh, more tech parts. Lovely. They're everywhere, man. I like it.
People in the apartment buildings watching.
Getting hella tech parts, man. My guy's just chilling on the roof by himself. Can we do anything with these tech parts, though? Can we do anything with these tech parts? I don't think so. Oh, illusions. Illusions.
Yankee was right. The friend picked up a signal from this satellite. Let's see what we're working with.
This is no hunt to be proud of.
Just checking the mics on.
A stain on my legacy. A disgrace. But deadly nonetheless. Find them. Kill them.
Come on, Creed 1, my guy.
People are on this guy's list.
this satellite network to track his targets. You're not getting away that easily.
Want to show me tricks? I will do that, bro. Oh my lord. I tried to do the Rubik's Cube thing at the beginning, man. It's too hard. I need to figure out how to do it. But we'll figure it out. Do do do. Do 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 do. Wait, this inverted thing is a bit mad, man. Can he do it? Ross. Ross. Ross, okay. Come on. Oh. Zigzag. Nice. Oh. Yeah, boy. Oh, wow. What did I hit there? 10% download. Nearly done. Oh. Yeah. Come on.
Alright, Craven. Where are you keeping Lee?
Yeah, trust me.
All the targets got corrupted into one file. The drone had no intel on Lee. But these people still need my help. Otherwise, they'll end up as heads on Craven's mantle. If there are more birds out there, I can decrypt them to discover the identities of the target. The data to the Spidey servers. He's gonna want to see this. Harry? Hey, you with Pete?
Hey. No. Listen, I saw you chasing that robot bird around on the news. Do you need any kind of tech support? Like running the app or something?
Actually, I got a friend doing that already.
Gotcha. Sorry, I'm just feeling useless, and my mom would always say, if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Even though she's gone, I still ask her for advice. Isn't that weird?
Nah, it's the same with me and my dad sometimes.
Nice to know I'm not alone. Thanks. And good luck out there.
You too, man.
Yeah, I can't lie. Sorry, Creed 1. Like, what, the train's moving? I can't lie. I don't like the inverted either, bro. I said I would change it, but I just haven't changed it, innit? I'm trying to get used to it, man, but yeah, I'm with you there. It's long. Where am I right now, anyway, on the map? Okay. I still ain't done all this shit, man. I need to fast travel. Right. Graveyard. Great. Just where I want to be. Oh, who's this? Oh,
Hey, Dad.
that's my dad.
Really use your help right now. I'm doing everything I can to find Lee.
Come on, love the swinging.
I know what you say. A hero is someone who doesn't give up. And I'm not. I just don't know what else to do. Maybe I should just ignore everything else and spend all my time trying to find Lee. No. If people need help, I'm helping. And I'll find Lee. If Pete's too busy, I'm Spider-Man. I can handle everything myself. Wish me luck, though? Thanks, Dad.
Wish me luck.
Love you. So, who needs help out there? It looks like a graffiti artist went a little overboard. Better check it out.
Okay. What's over here? This Peter's. Yeah, that.
Helping people one at a time, Mrs. Parker.
I think I get a trophy if I come here with Peter, to be fair. Because I think that was one of the trophies, so I need to come here as Peter. For that. Oh, I can switch to Peter if I want. Come on. Right, what's the plan? What's the plan?
Okay, friends, my feeds are blowing up
What's that
about
yellow
the
thing?
commotion out in Jersey. A fire at the old zoo? A
What's
secret
this?
hunter base? And Spider-Man trying on his friend's black suit? Things are getting weird out there, folks. I mean, I know there's a lot of excitement about SM's black is the new black look, and I mean, it is fire and all,
Rare
but
tech parts, raw.
just a tad
Okay.
moody for our friendly neighborhood so-and-so. No takers? Just me? Okay, well, you know, you come to me for the real, so I'm just trying to deliver. Stay safe out there, y'all.
You only get 2 rare tech parts, but when you find the blue box, you get like 29. That's how you know they're rare.
You know how to...
Dun, 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 dun. Right, is there any crime for us to do?
Hey, Miles. Just spoke with Pete. He's heading over to Dr. Connor's house in Queens. Stay ready in case he needs backup.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna have to switch to Peter, am I?
Did Pete ask you to call me?
Well, no, but I figured 2 Spider-Men are better than 1, right?
Sure. Okay, thanks, MJ. Sounds like he doesn't need me. Maybe I'll go see Haley in the meantime.
Why do they all hide speed chases, man? There's another crime in this darn city, fam.
An accident waiting to happen.
Hunted! Spider-Man! Big mistake, Spider!
That's a big mistake, yeah. Piss off. Dickhead, hold that. Right, let us change to Peter.
All in a day's work for Spider-Man.
Let us change to Peter. Can't open it. But I want to go there as Peter. Alright, cool, I just gotta go there then. Don't make sense. Wait, what? Is there a drift here? Yes, there is. Found it. Yeah, sorry guys, the inverted thing is bugging me out, man. But we'll get used to it, I hope. So let's go, Queens! Switching to Peter.
Let's hope Connors is home. And still in control of his green alter ego. Dr. Connors? Dr. Connors! You here? How long has that been going on?
Yeah, turn that shit off, man. It's annoying.
Connors' family. Heard his wife left with their son after the first lizard fiasco.
Well, that's not his family, is it? It's just his missus, mate. His kid ain't in that. Scan environment. Nothing else in here. Surprise.
His son's
Okay.
room.
Bit weird. Alright.
Animal lover.
Hardly, mate. It's a lullaby, innit?
Dual sinks. But only one's used.
Wow. That's crazy. Dual sinks, one's used.
Doc? Connors was here, all right. And fighting for his life by the looks of it. Genetic recombination research? He came home to cure himself. Hard to do experiments in your living room, though.
Trust.
Oh man, what did Craven do to you, Doc? These blood samples are for a genome analyzer. Does Connors have a lab here?
Oh, he's got a lab downstairs or something, or in the basement. That's his family, mate.
Tore through here. How are you still standing?
Secret passageway.
Hello? No numbers on the keypad.
I'm gonna have to find the code, innit?
Keys play different notes.
So purple,
Maybe the code's a
purple,
song?
blue, purple, green, purple, purple. Haha. Blue.
Should search the house for something musical.
Why when I can just guess it? Why do I need to search the house, bro? One's a lyrical mastermind. There you go. Done. Didn't need to search nothing. Yeah. Spy the man. Back at it. Ross. Whole lab.
Probably kept him and his family safe whenever he had an episode.
Doubt it.
Tile terrariums for Connor's initial limb regeneration tests. I never did find out how he lost his arm.
Oh, yeah, let me watch
Motion
this.
sensor triggered the security cameras about
Oh.
30 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's a bit mad. He looks mad different now.
Trying to test his blood. Come on, Dr. Connors, fight it.
No, he's lost it. Oh, raw.
Oh no. Craven's gonna pay for putting Connors and his family through hell.
He's made himself massive, bro. He's fucked now. Get that shit out.
It couldn't hold him.
Of course it couldn't fucking hold him. Come on. Can we get out of there?
Connors' blood.
These men are everywhere, fam. These men are everywhere. Surprise, motherfucker.
You have no idea.
You have no idea. Yeah, guess what? Yeah, get fucked. How about that?
Let me tell you how this is all gonna go down. You leave Connors alone. He doesn't deserve this.
Doesn't deserve this. Just a giant lizard that likes to fuck people up.
You'll answer to me.
Good doggy. Yeah. Oh crap, as if I dive into that exact bit, man. Can we get out of one hole in the corner, man? Oh yeah, I do like the different neighbourhoods though, man. The fact I'm in Brooklyn now, it's like a more family neighbourhood sort of thing. I like it, man. It's not always the city. These lot are really starting to fuck me off, man. Avoid these weeps! Avoid that, pussy. Yeah? I've got arrows in the back of me, bro. I didn't even clock that. See how many arrows I got in me? Oh, they're gone now. Stay on the floor. Oh, raw, where'd you come from? There you go. Have that. Fuck you. Yeah, fuck you.
Is all this just a game to him?
Yeah, Peter's getting more and more vexed as the longer he has the suit, obviously, innit? But this guy's getting vexed, bro.
You and the lizard will make great trophies.
You ain't getting no trophy, bro. I tell you what you're getting. Slap in the face, you bitch. Yeah, fuck you. I got enemies, got a lot of enemies. Can you do what? Oh, I'm pressing R1 on square, it's L1 on square. Anyone else? Oh, you're up there. Come on, boy. Get on the house. Dickhead. Look how he landed. Perfectly.
Lizards across the river. I'm not gonna make it in time.
Miles, quick.
Is it 1800s? I love the braids. Yeah, okay. I see it.
I got to go.
Lee is still out there. The city needs me. It's Spider-Man, right now.
Yeah, true, but right now, Miles ain't gonna kill a lizard, is he?
1 second. Pete? What's going on? The market? Yeah, I'll be there.
She's a bit sus.
I'm sorry. I'll text you.
Must be better
It's
long.
beautiful. The mural. I mean. It's about time Pete called me back.
Hey, how's it going with Haley?
Had to bail. Lizard's loose. Could use your eyes.
Lizard's loose.
Lizard?
Also, Haley thinks I'm crazy for trying to find Lee. Seems like everyone does.
We're protecting you. Revenge just...
I'm not after revenge. Dad always believed in second chances. But that's not what this is. It's my job to protect y'all, not the other way around.
I get it. Okay, let me boot up my gear real quick.
Oh, mad. Wait, what? Come on, man's trying to do the all the way around. Oh, fucked it. The lizard's loose. See what I got now.
Looks empty, but I better check it out.
Trust. I was gonna say, who the fuck is behind us?
Guess I'll have company after all.
Everyone out. Move it. Go, go, go. Taser 2, keep it tight.
They're using drones to track the lizard. Maybe I can use them too. That a passive defense system? Yep. Good to know.
Oh, it's only a couple birds, man. Chill out. Chill out, lad.
Can't let these guys find the lizard first. Gotta clear him out.
Oh, let me kill this fucker right here.
Spread out. If you find the lizard, don't engage alone.
If you find the lizard.
Hey man, got your feet up on the battle station.
Yeah, we're about to make bare weblands, bro. I can't lie.
Track the lizard?
I think so. Why?
Got an idea. I'll work on it while you clear the warehouse.
Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Shut up, dickhead. Oh, look at these lines though. Sick. Chill out, man. Who you trying to shoot?
Lights fading.
What happens if I shoot the shark? Nothing. Alright, so oh, there's people up here as well. That's why, and I got that thing still. There's another one. Right. So we'll go here. Take this bitch down. If it lets me. I keep thinking I'm Peter for some reason. shit, it's too risky, man. It's too risky. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Surely someone hears that, man. Alright, these... Oh, okay, can't do it there. No, it's triangle, isn't it? Yeah. Alright, this webline thing is sick, man. I love this.
Just sign. But it is fresh. The beast was here. The hunt is on.
The hunt is on. Yeah, these webline things just make everything so much easier, man. Create your own paths. Trying to do as many takedowns as we can. Why are you in danger? Why is she danger? Who's here? Okay. Yeah, this is sick, man. Yeah, that's what you think. I'm always here.
Never saw it coming.
Okay, I didn't mean to do that. But it works. Back on my line? Yeah, sick. Oh shit, I've been seen. Nearly got seen. How I didn't get seen is beyond me. Look, all these dickheads just hanging, bro. So funny. Do you not realise there's no birds flying around anymore? Like, did these lot just not realise that? That's what I don't understand. There was 2 birds flying around before, now there's nothing. And you don't notice that. You lot are sick. You're sick hunters, man. Whole point of your being is to hunt. You can't even do that, mugs. Back on the web line.
No sign of them. Must be Spider-Man.
Yeah, guess what it is? How can you not look up? Look, you're telling me you look off that balcony, you can't see these people hanging. So funny.
Sucks to be you.
Sucks to be you. It's everyone, isn't it?
I will never get tired of watching you kick serious ass. And we got our birdie. See if your suit can override the drone's motherboard.
Okay.
Smile.
I'll give it a shot.
Quick photo.
Okay. My suit's pairing now.
God bless Unix. Okay. Rebooting the altimeter and... It's alive!
Oh, raw.
Like a robot drone, man.
That's sick.
And a robot drone that's tracking the lizard.
Awesome. That was fast.
It looks like he's through there.
It's gonna
This
change
thing
it.
handles like a tank. Okay. Oh, this is gonna be bad.
Yankee, you good?
Yeah. I think this way's blocked now, though.
Don't stress. I'll meet you on the other side. Garage might lead to Genki.
Yeah.
And Lizard.
Oh yeah, that's sick though, how he's controlling that now as one of, like, we've got one of them now, even though it's not the best, but that's quite sick. Genki's getting to control that. Cool.
Here we go.
Oh, it's all dingy. Why is he gonna be down here, the lizard? I'm shook. Not really, but... Okay. Can we...
Gotta get out of here. Yankee didn't make that.
Oh my. Oh crap, what the hell is that? Oh, the lizard's definitely here.
Guess it's sushi night.
Yeah. Sushi night. Oh, it's getting dark, boy. I can't see shit. Here comes the cutscene. Yeah. Oh, shit. Yep, there he is. That was his tail, bro. Look how big he is now. That's mad. Munching all the fish. Look, look, look.
One guess what's behind door number 1.
Oh, skanky.
Dude, where the hell were you?
No idea, but I've seen some things.
Same, man.
Bro, he's massive, this lizard now, you know.
Yeah. Drone doesn't have a lock on him though.
He's somewhere around here. His tail almost got me.
There, over there. The one I fucking walk past, of course. Needed to get ganky though.
Get behind me. Gear slipped.
Oh shit, raw. Look, that's his skin. Look.
Just his skin.
Doesn't that mean he's getting bigger?
Yep.
Hungrier too.
Peter.
Whoa. Hey, man. New threats?
The building's swarming with hunters. Any sign of Connors?
Yeah. Genki's tracking him.
Hey, Mr. Parker. Mr. Spider-Man, I mean.
But the date isn't complete.
I think I can help with that.
Is that blood? Hey, wait a sec. Try dropping it in here.
Onboard scanner.
These machines are mad, you know.
Dude, this is great data. Hang on a sec. Okay, I think I got a lock.
Genki, wait, be chill. That wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
Me neither.
I don't even have a stomach, so...
Oh shit.
Let's go.
I wanna see him, man. Look how big he is though, bro. That's fucked. Look, look. It looks like Hulk. He looks like a T-Rex. He ain't no lizard no more. One's a T-Rex.
Can't lose Connors. Harry's dying, and he's the only one who can help.
Oh yeah, this is like in,
You take the drones, I got the jet skis.
this is like in the Amazing Spider-Man 2 with all the cranes when they line up the cranes. Yeah, get off. Get off. I wanna drive a jet ski.
This is really, really exciting. Keep it tight, man. Watch out for those drones.
Don't worry, they think I'm a friendly.
Spider-Man!
At least they're doing it somewhere I can swing. Come on, we can get that jet ski. Yeah, you lot are dead. Don't try that.
Y'all having a yacht party without me?
Just. Yeah, he's massive, the lizard though, man. Surprise! Look.
The East River is not a river. In fact, the Solon tidal flat. The Spider-Man is fighting on right now.
You better move. Oh crap.
I've got the metal murder bird.
No, I'm Peter now. Come on.
I warned you about going after Connors. Now this is on you.
Raw Peter's fuming, you know. Oh yeah, on the river though, come on.
Is that all you got?
Oh, I'm trying to help.
This
Shit.
gunship won't quit.
I'm right behind you. We'll take it down together.
No time.
Raw Peter's getting so vexed, bro.
I got you.
I've got you in my sights. Yeah, Peter's fuming.
Defenses.
Oh.
Spider-Man, hang on.
Hey, Miles keeps saving Peter in this game, I can't lie. Miles keeps pulling Peter out of trouble every time. Here comes the lizard, I'm guessing. Oh shit. Look how big it is, man. Connors ain't never been that big. That's a whole Godzilla, bro. My guy looks like Godzilla now. Right. Get King Kong here, bro. We'll have a fight. Ross. Jump. Oh, I'm controlling it. Come on. Oh, shit. Alright, so what do I have to do? Oh, okay. Look how big he is, man. Mad. Yeah, kill them, kill them. Don't worry about me. I'm not even gonna fill you up, bro. Look. Some skinny guy. Mad. This is mad. I love this game, man. Shit. Yeah, trust. Oh yeah, what? Pass me again.
Trying to take out that gunship. Can't get close enough.
I can. I'm one of them, remember?
Bro, that's it. Pete, alley-oop on 3.
Yeah, what you doing, man? You do it. Raw, save them.
1, 2, 3. Alley.
Bosh. What a shot. Sacrifice Ganki. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta make sacrifices for the greater good. In the sewers. Raw, save them all. Man just dashed him on the floor. You don't care no more, bro, this suit. You don't give a shit, man just dashed him.
He got away from us. It's good, Pete. I saved the tracker. Let's go, man, before he gets too far.
No.
He's mine. You sure? He's got big teeth.
So do I.
No.
He's not normally like that, right?
Nope.
No. He's never like that.
Never.
Tracker says Connors is in the Upper West Side sewers. Better move.
Level up again.
Hey, any look at Connor's house?
No, but tracking him right now.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
Meaning something.
Miles was off his game. We almost had Lizard.
I'm sure he was just trying to help.
Sometimes it's just easier to do things myself.
Hey, that's not fair, Pete. We're a team.
We just really need Connors right now. For Harry.
Okay. Let me know when you find him.
No, I can't lie, I think Peter's been a bit out of order there, mate. Because I'm pretty sure I saw Miles save you, mate. So if anyone was off it, it was you, son. Do you know what I mean? Don't know what you're talking about, mate. Miles has saved your ass about 20 times in this game, bro. You need to fix up, Peter. I'm not lacking this attitude. Yeah? I know it's Venom speaking, I still love you, but fix up. Right, I'm gonna try this Rubik's Cube thing again, man. Wait. Oh, boys. I had it. No, I had it, man. We're doing it. I had it. That building mashed me up.
Friends of the Danicast, I woke up today with one question on my mind. What the hell happened at the Emily May Foundation last night? 1 minute we're talking philanthropy and using the means of production for good, and the next we're looking at a war zone. And yeah, listen, clearly those hunters were involved. Clearly they're the baddies here, but y'all saw the same footage of Spider-Man I did.
No, man.
The way that
She's pissing me off.
moves, how
I know I can do it.
Call me a worrywart if you want,
We were
but
doing it.
something ain't right.
And the freaking building mashed us up, man. We'll do one more attempt.
64 ounces of water every day. See you soon, folks.
One more attempt, lad. Right. Where's the best place to do it here? Come on, man. It doesn't make no sense, bro. Nah, okay, I hate this, man. I need to do it. It's actually annoying me. Real last go now. Should be able to get up buildings quicker, man. Oh, raw, tech parts here. Didn't even see that. How many times I've been up here. Take them. $28, $29 tech parts. 21, alright, I'll take it. Right, perch, my boy. Right, come on, man. You got this. Look! Why is that happening, bro, man? It's actually stopped. It's actually really winding me up. Something so simple. No, forget it. We're not trying it. Yeah, we'll do that next time. Alright. So I think I'm gonna call it there, people. Been streaming for 2 hours, so that's another episode. I will save it. And we will continue from here next time. So as usual, thank you very much for watching, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, whatever. If you're watching on YouTube, please like, subscribe, leave any comments of how I can improve gameplay and things like that. But thank you very much and safe. See you next time.